Hello, this is Mark here at Garrett's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I'm here today to talk about speakers. Some speaker basics, like a little 101. Talk about, there's a lot to be said about speakers, there's a lot of opinions out there. I'm just going to try to give you some facts, a little bit of opinion too, and hopefully we'll learn something. Let's have a look. Well, there we go. So, what I did is I lined up here three different speakers from three different eras. Well, these last two are pretty similar, but we're going to start talking about this vintage speaker here. This is a vintage Jensen. So let's talk about what are the parts. This is the basket. This is the cone. Terminals. Magnets. Inside on the back here is what we call the spider. At the end there, inside there, you can see a little bit of the voice coil. So the voice coil, see this round part right there? The voice coil travels inside, and it is regulated inside that little magnet in the rear. And so you put a signal to the voice coil, and it will move. It will reject the magnet and get sucked up to the magnet as the magnetism changes, and that will cause the entire cone assembly to move. And kind of simulate that a little here, back and forth. So it can go backwards a little, and go forwards a little. So the spider, which actually used to be shaped like a spider web, it was translucent and translucent. It was had holes in it, so it kind of looked more like a spider web. But and then let's keep going. Like I said, the cone. This is what we call the dust cover. It serves a minimal purpose. Now this one's ventilated here. It can just the size and shape of your dust cover can provide an EQ. This is the part we call the surround. On a guitar speaker, the surround is part of the cone. It goes right to the edge. In hi-fi speakers, the surrounds are often foam or some kind of contrasting material and not paper. We'll get to that a little later, why that's important or not important. So, this speaker is from the 60s, assumably. Didn't look up the serial number, but style-wise. And what you'll notice right away, here's a contemporary speaker. What you'll notice right away is just overall heft and weight. Well, you won't notice it, but I'll express it to you. Big magnet. This has a 1-inch. This is a 12-inch speaker with a 1-inch voice coil. This is a 12-inch speaker with a 2-inch voice coil. Big magnet. Heftier basket. Everything's been kind of heftied up. Here we see the spider is a cloth material rather than on the old speakers. Sometimes they're paper, so the cloth breathes a little more. Here we have a bigger dust cover. Like I said, it can change your bass range a little bit. The surround is still paper. However, if we look at this other contemporary speaker, here the surround is coated in a rubbery stuff that impregnates the paper to make it more apt to move and less ripping. What happens in these old speakers, and this one's actually been treated, see a little shadow of the treatment this one had. The paper actually would become brittle, and these parts where they flex, and when they get old, they get soft and they tear. This is a new speaker, so these are strong. But also this paper is, see, there's been improvements in the paper as well. These have a higher resonant frequency than this one does, being old. This one here is old paper. It's soft and has a deep tone to it. Newer speakers have this kind of higher end overtone. It gives a more powerful sound. And the material is a little different. It's paper as well, but it has this serious surface to it. And The dust cover is some kind of nylon, I believe. This one is paper with a little bit of what appears to be some kind of foam, thin layer of breathable something. So, what do I want to talk about speakers for? Well, a big question is, should I replace the vintage speaker in my amplifier? If your speaker is malfunctioning, or are newer speakers better or worse? People say the old speakers, this is the only way to go. Man, these speakers are great. No way, man. Those things are garbage. You need this big, heavy, cool thing. Wait a minute. What about me? No, sorry. What I want to say is, there are arguments for both. I have a Vox amplifier that has the original Vox Bulldog speaker in it, and it was kind of damaged, and I took it out and put a Jensen in it. The amplifier didn't sound half as good. I had to repair the Vox speaker and reinstall it, because that's how much the amp really wanted that speaker. Some speakers are ideally matched to go with their amp. Some speakers aren't. They're mismatched. Some amps will sound better with a replacement speaker. So that's no magic equation either. What else can we say about this? So the heftier, higher, the speaker has a much higher wattage rating. Funny, this one doesn't. These things claim to be high wattage as well, but a heftier speaker, less likely to be damaged in use. This one, not so hefty. Now, yeah, here's the other thing. Some amplifiers that had 25 watt speakers on them, they'll experience speaker breakup. The speaker will begin to malfunction as part of the distortion the amplifier can get, and some people love that or insist on it, and some people think you make the amp break up or the pedal break up and you keep the speaker super clean. So, one last thing for this little video, and that is to talk about what makes a guitar speaker good or different from a hi-fi speaker or any other kind of speaker. And I would say this. The guitar speaker has just like the guitar amplifier, a very narrow equalization curve to it. A lot of high mids. This having this continuous cone to surround. One material, not the soft surround. It automatically does some bass cutting. It does a little compression because these new speakers, man, they just don't want to move. Because the huge magnets, it takes a lot to just make them want to move. Old speakers, this thing will just flex in a second. No effort at all. New speakers, man, they are just hard to get to move. That also affects the equalization curve. How about this one? This one still, yeah. I think in general, newer speakers, in becoming sturdier, they change the equalization a little bit. So, I didn't answer any questions necessarily, but I hope you found this informative. And thanks for watching.